So this one is basically homework problem. It's not going to be anything on the test, but I always get people who always ask me, how do I do this since it's a homework problem? Notice this has two inequality symbols, and you have to graph this. When you see two inequality symbols, this is saying 10 is less than x, but then x is less than 12. When you have these two less than symbols and the x in the middle of these, this is more of a sandwich, okay? So basically they're giving you limits. Let's draw a number line. Notice, okay, I have both 10 and 12 up here. When you have two inequality symbols, remember how before if we just had one, I was either shading all the way towards the positive infinity or all the way to negative infinity? This one's a little different. We're going to be surrounding these two items. So you start with the smallest guy, 10. And because this is not underlined, remember, we're going to use parentheses at 10. But because 12 is underlined here, for 12, we're going to use brackets. So this one is a sandwich. So what you're going to do is this is basically saying x is between 10 and 12. So how do I show between in here? For 10, I have to use one of these symbols. I'm going to do this because I want to go all the way to 12. But I can't go past 12. And I know 12, I'm going to use bracket. And I want x to be between, so I'm going to shade between them. Alright, so normally, we only have to deal with 1/2 of this. If I had to do x is less than or equal to 12, I would have done bracket, but go all the way to the very end. But because there's a condition saying, nope, you cannot go past 10, that's the reason why it's sandwiched or between. So x is between 10 and 12. The other thing is, maybe you have one of them that you might have to solve. So let's say if we had 3 x plus 2 and 7. If you're trying to get x by itself, notice we want to get rid of the plus 2. But unlike us saying that there's a left-hand side and a right-hand side, notice that there's 3 sections. This section, this section, this section. So if I want to get rid of this, I subtract 2 here, but that means I have to subtract 2 on this section, and I also have to subtract 2 on this section, because I need to get x by itself. These cancel out, so I get x. 7 minus 2 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. So now it kind of looks like this, the sandwich. So then for me to graph this, all I want to do is take a number line. Make sure it has 1 and 5. So I'll put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, x is going to be between 1 and 5. So 1 is here, 5 is here, but notice that these are both are underlined. So we're going to use brackets. Because I want to shade between, at 1, I'm going to have the bracket that goes this way. And at 5, I want the bracket to go this way because I want to be between 1 and 5. And then I would shade in all this area. Okay? So you're not going to see this as an actual test question, but you might see this as homework. So that's how you do this. If this had a number here, let's say this was -1, then you would divide both sides by -1. And because the coefficient's negative, you would switch the inequality symbol. Every rule that you were doing before still applies to this. But luckily, we're going to keep it simple on the test. just try to do a couple of these for homework.